thank you for listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info. Hot Facts is the show. I'm Kaladakoru Batubo. We're about to have our first, topical-ish for the day on the show. And we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're active on X, Nigeria Info PH. I really the phone numbers in a bit, but before I introduce my guest, let's dig up some gutting conversations. Now, you remember during the political upheaval in Rivers State, they had factions at the House of Assembly. We used to use the terms Martin-led assembly, Victor Oko-Jumbo led assembly, and then, they read the plethora of court cases to determine who was the authentic speaker or not, the back and forth, the legal jargons, the legalese, and, some of us became lawyers on the show. I remember all of that, right? Good days, right? I call those good days because we had wonderful academic debates on the show. And then we got the ruling, and we were told, we were told that the 27 led by, Martin, or the 26, plus Martin, 27, were the authentic assembly. And then we had the state of emergency. And after the state of emergency, we were told peace had returned to the state. And, the recent arguments, and which may just be symptoms of another political upheaval, have got me thinking, could it be there was really no peace before? Could the peace have been cosmetic? Could it have been bandaged? Or, is it me overthinking and we're shooting once again? And to help me have this conversation, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst based here in Rivers State, I'm talking about Chetam Nwala, Esquire. It's good to have you on the show. Welcome, Barrister Nwala. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
All right, so the question I'm asking on the show this hour is, what has happened to the other three members of the House of Assembly who, were in the faction loyal to the governor at the time? Are they no longer House of Assembly members? Now, let's start from there.
First of all, we come from a very funny state. That funny things happen.
Okay.
And when they happen like this, sometimes you don't know whether to laugh or to cry. But there are the occasions I chose to laugh and to complain. That's how I operated. Now, they came here and lied to us that they had peace, that there was peace. They had resolved the issues and all that and all that. Had decided that this piece is looking like monkey hand inside the pot of soup, and it's going to make the soup go sour. They came and carried out all the things they carried out, made all the claims they made, and that became our reality. Now we had expected, just like the prophet had instructed at some point, that everybody will turn back. Even the Supreme Court decision, the Supreme Court decision did not actually recognize the suspension of anybody or expulsion of anybody from the House of Assembly. But we have seen a situation where certain persons from the similar faction have been completely excluded from the activities of the House of Assembly.
Okay.
When you look at it, what are these people? These people, they don't represent themselves. They represent a particular constituency.
Yeah.
It simply means that the people from that constituency no longer have a voice. Now we have 4 persons. If you take out Edison here, who did resign at some point from the House of Assembly to become chief of staff, you agree with me that the ANEC has also not tried in resolving some issues, because the constituency which Edison here represents, for the past 100 years, don't have a representative in the House of Assembly. Even when these issues have been resolved largely. Now, this trajectory has continued, and it tells the type of system we are also running. We have said that there is no peace, that what they have done is just a small screen and nothing serious. People tell me, why has Martin Awudewule not recalled back the 300 persons who are still left in the House of Assembly?
So can I ask a quick question so to cut your thoughts short? Is it Martin, the speaker, that should be calling the other three, or should they make themselves available? Do you think they should have just showed up, and if they were not allowed to enter, then maybe we could have said, "Oh, okay, no peace."
Martin is the Speaker of the House of Assembly. Martin is being Speaker of the House of Assembly. These guys do not need to go and force themselves upon matters.
Okay.
And it would be wrong for them to have even attempted that particular fact. They cannot put themselves upon the House of Assembly. There has been serious bad blood, which was not properly resolved by calculation. I have argued severally that this blood was not properly resolved, and that the resolution that they had grassroots, it was just at the that we saw this. Now, these guys cannot necessarily like that return. Martins has to call them, integrate them into the House of Assembly, and show to be properly that they have actually resolved the personal passes that was there, and that these people are welcome. The cars that you are giving, don't also forget, the cars that you are given by the solar, the still give these people. You give it to the 7 lawmakers. The most constituency funds that were released was also released to these people. You only get it to the 7 lawmakers. Now, come back to the issue of their staff that they paid, those of them who went for training and all that. The 3 lawmakers from the same faction were not also part of the arrangements. See, one of the problems we have in Rivers is that we like to limit ourselves to certain things that are not even our realities. The reality on ground is that there's no peace in this state. As the political actors I mean now, there's no peace amongst them. But they only deceive themselves and probably deceive Mr. President that they have resolved. We are in a situation where people keep lying to themselves. We are in a fact these persons have not resolved, and that the issues are still there.
Okay. Can I
those issues that are still there?
Can I pause you? Let's look at it from a point of law. Is there any law or any declaration that says these 3, representing is it Opobo, Bonny constituency, I beg your pardon, then the Adolphus Timothy and Sokari Goodboy, these 3, is there any law or court judgment that says they are no longer lawmakers of the Rivers State House of Assembly?
Their seats were declared vacant by the Speaker during the pendency of the crisis.
Okay.
For the court.
Okay.
The Speaker declared their seats vacant. And when you also read a part of the Supreme Court judgment that recognized the Martins Abeye, the Supreme Court judgment was put up to the effect that Martins was Speaker, and the Supreme Court judgment did not allude to the removal of anybody or the declaration of the seats of anybody vacant. The Supreme Court still recognized these persons as members of the House of Assembly, and also went ahead to advise them to go ahead to carry out their legislative business. Now that was what the Supreme Court did, but we don't take it down to the political angle of it. You have declared their seats as a result of the crisis. Don't also forget, Edis Navy have also declared their own seat vacant too. Yeah. The Supreme Court waded in. Now we have come back to they now say there's a political solution to the entire problems. They have been able to make progress. One would expect that you would also reintegrate these people into your at the level of the House of Assembly. Now, it's a different thing if these guys are not willing to be reintegrated. If these guys are not willing to be a part of what they are doing again. But you see, it is not even just about these guys. I can also tell for a fact that both the Speaker of the House of Assembly and these House of Assembly member by Oko and who are no longer actively in the House of Assembly themselves to have soon not be interested in the activities of Martins Abeye as Speaker. The same way Martins Abeye and his colleagues have also shown not to be interested in the activities of Omosimilaya Fubara as governor. This has continued. That's why you see that most of these men who are loyal to the deputy minister, they don't attend state functions. They stay away from whatever the governor is doing. Meanwhile, these guys are not also going to align themselves with the Martins Abeye assembly. So we have had this back and forth. Now, at the end of the day, it is the people they represent that still suffers. People they represent are the ones suffering for this whole thing. And it's a very sad circumstance and situation. Very sad situation. These persons have refused to put aside their own pride, they have refused to put aside their own political differences to make sure that their people benefit from governance. As of today, these constituencies are not really benefiting as one would naturally expect them to benefit. And it's a terrible situation. A very terrible situation we are seeing today in the state. And this is continuing. It doesn't look like there's any insight.
Okay, so if we should go back to the Supreme Court judgment, if the Supreme Court judgment said, okay, it certifies Martin and others as authentic members of the Assembly, does that mean that whatever action they took during the time can be said to be binding? Can we argue that? Because I'm looking for the legal justification, for the non-representation of these constituencies. Could we argue that maybe because of the Supreme Court judgment certifying them as the authentic lawmakers for that reason? Go ahead, I'm listening.
If one argues to the effect that if every action of Master Assembly at the time during this crisis was correct, I agree with anybody who was that particular argument, because I support that argument. That at the time the crisis was ongoing, whatever laws that were made by the House of Assembly are deemed to be laws, because the Supreme Court said that they had operated legally and Master Assembly is the Speaker of the House of Assembly. Recall, during the period of the crisis, some of us had raised up the issue and we have said that the way the Oko-Jumbo led faction admits that it is that for me, legally, I had argued and said, this does not really represent the state of things or state of affairs as it should be. However, that issue went on and the Supreme Court settled it. Now, having settled that particular problem, there is an ambit of that judgment, which is what I had tried to refer you to. There's an ambit of that judgment, which also went ahead, as the House of Assembly, to work together, irrespective of activities that are played out. So, what naturally expected that Master Assembly and his colleagues would shield their sword and move on, recall these people back, and they make progress, because these persons are not just representing themselves, they are representing a set of people. And this is the problem. So, that as much as actions taken during the pendency of the crisis by Master Assembly, the declaration of the seat of these assembly members by Master and his colleagues, that declaration, in line with the Supreme Court instruction that they should work together, that declaration now has a trailer. And this people should be incorporated into the activities of the House of Assembly. Especially because of the people they tend to represent. So you cannot exclude them on the basis of that. Exclude them.
I want to ask a question. Let's go back to Edison here. Now, I want to resign with a little knowledge of the law. For one to resign, he has to write to the Speaker, right? And so if the Supreme Court says the activities of the Victor Oko-Jumbo faction were null and void, it means that his resignation did not follow due process as well. Can we argue, and I know a lot of lawyers have tried to make this argument in the time past, especially after the state of emergency, can we argue that Edison may likely still be a member of the House, and maybe that's why INEC cannot make a move to replace that seat?
Well, you see that argument. Now, if you say Edison did not resign, now Edison resigned at the time. Look at me. Let me recall. Let me refresh your memory. Now, Edison had been declared Speaker of the House of Assembly, and there was an interim order restraining Master for putting himself as Speaker. It's a recall. Now, from then, from their own political calculations, Edison need to resign to become Chief of Staff to enable whatever political structure arrangement they had wanted to put together. They put that together.